Hey everybody, Ash here with Gents, back with the fragrance review. More specifically, 5 fragrances from the House of Alexandria fragrances. And believe it or not, I literally just filmed this video, only I didn't turn the microphone on. So I wasted so much time. And now I'm back for round 2. And I thought round 1 went pretty well, so this is gonna be a dumpster fire. I can't do 2 good videos in a row, it's not happening. So I've got 5 fragrances from the House of Alexandria fragrances. These were sent to me for review by Alexandria fragrances, but like always, I'm gonna tell you guys the truth. If I don't like something, I'm gonna tell you I don't like it. And if I like something, I'm gonna tell you I like it. We're on the same page here, you and I. So, 5 Alexandria fragrances. I'm gonna tell you what each one of these is a clone of or inspired by. I'm gonna let you know what I like or don't like about each fragrance. And I'm gonna do a giveaway as well as a coupon code. So one of you out there is gonna win one of these bottles. Lucky you. All right guys, let's go ahead and jump into this 5 Alexandria fragrances. First off, before we go too much deeper, I want to talk about the presentation. I'm not going to do the usual presentation part where I sit the camera down and talk about everything. We're going to do it a little more casually. So apparently Alexandria fragrances used to come in these. This is a little velvet pouch. It's kind of a navy blue coloration. And as you can see right there, as the Alexandria fragrances logo right on the front. So it used to be you would get this with the fragrance down inside and this pulled tight like that, but I don't believe they are doing those anymore. I believe they're doing these now. As you can see, it's a cardboard box. It's got the Alexandria fragrances logo there, and you can see little small lighthouses all around it, reflecting in the light there. So there's a closer look at the front of the box. There's the spine of the box. And there is the back of the box. And as you can see there at the bottom, handcrafted in California. Each one of these bottles that I got is a 30 milliliter 1 ounce bottle size, but they also have 2 ounce bottle sizes on their website. So the box opens up like so and the fragrance sits right in there. Let's give you a look of how that would look. Like that. Whoa! And then the bottles look like so. Just giving a quick look at a couple of these so you can get an idea. And the little labels on the front here do have a few different looks. So you'll notice that the last one looks different than this one, which looks different than this one. So there's a few different styles and iterations. And I would also be remiss if I did not tell you that the bottles are just 30 milliliter or 60 milliliter, depending on the size you buy, decant bottles or stock bottles. You can find these all over the internet if you wanted to buy them yourself. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I understand the hustle. Dua does something similar, just letting you guys know. All right, guys, let's jump into the fragrances, yeah? First one we're going to talk about is this one, Interplay Extrait. Interplay Extrait is Alexandria Fragrance's take on Maison Francis Kurkdjian Baccarat Rouge 540 Extrait de Parfum. Now, I do not own Baccarat Rouge 540 Extrait de Parfum, but I do own Baccarat Rouge 540 Eau de Parfum. Some people will say it's a little bit too sweet or too feminine for men to wear, but personally I think it's completely unisex. Men and women can both wear it. As well, if you don't know what that one smells like, it often gets compared to the smell of cotton candy or candy floss. So that gives you a really general idea of the kind of sweetness that we're dealing with from that fragrance. Now let's talk about Interplay Extrait and whether it's a good or not so good alternative to Baccarat Rouge 540 Extrait de Parfum, or really just Baccarat Rouge 540 in general. Interplay Extrait has a hella sweet opening, very sugary off the top. It has kind of an almost candied feel when you smell it. Now it is done well. When you smell that off the top, it does not smell harsh. It does have a strong similarity to just Baccarat Rouge 540, which is what they're going for, so that's a good thing. After a couple minutes, you get a soft almond note and a sweet, spicy saffron, and that kind of settles in underneath that sugary opening. This fragrance smells pretty consistent through into the dry down. There's not a drastic change from the opening to the mid to the dry down. Obviously, the sweetness gets toned down a little bit, but that's mainly because the fragrance is losing some of its power and its projection. There are also some woody notes and a little bit of ambergris that comes in through the mid into the dry down, and that further helps offset the sweetness with a couple of contrasting notes. Interplay Extrait, just like Baccarat Rouge 540, to me is completely unisex. And that is a peekaboo type of scent, if you want to call it that. Well, what I mean by that is you'll be wearing that fragrance and you'll think it's gone, and then you'll catch a whiff of it and you'll be like, oh, no, it's still there. And then a couple hours later, you'll think again, oh, I can't smell it, must be gone again, and then you catch another whiff of it. Or you may be wearing that and think that it's completely gone, you're not picking it up anymore, then you'll walk by somebody and they'll make a comment about your fragrance. So obviously it's still there, still projecting, you've just gone anosmic to it. That happens with Baccarat Rouge 540, and it happens with Interplay Extrait as well. So essentially it's just a fragrance that comes and goes to you in waves. Out of the 5 fragrances that I got, this one is my second favorite. It is a solid alternative to Baccarat Rouge 540 in my opinion. Next up, let's talk about this one, Alexandria Fragrances African Magic. So this is going to be Alexandria Fragrances' take on Memo African Leather. And if you've been around my channel for a long time, then you know African Leather by Memo is one of my favorite fragrances. It's not really too much of a leather fragrance, to be honest. It's more a spicy fragrance, but it smells really nice. African Magic, when it opens up, is not very good. It has a harsh opening. The notes just don't really meld together. And the saffron and the cardamom in African Magic kind of disappear after about a minute. So those 2 notes make up a huge part of why I love African Leather, and in the opening of African Magic they just dip out. As well, the vetiver note in African Magic is amped way up in comparison to African Leather in the opening. Strangely enough, after about 20 minutes, the cardamom and the saffron in African Magic start to creep back into the fragrance. So African Magic is really strange. It opens up not great, then it gets worse, and then it starts to get better and better, and then it's actually pretty nice. After this settles all the way down, about 30 to 40 minutes in, it's actually a really decent alternative to African Leather. It smells a little bit sweeter than African Leather, it has less spice than African Leather, and I would say it lacks depth and richness as compared to African Leather. You can definitely tell they're not the same quality of ingredients. But as an alternative to African Leather, you know, if you don't want to pony up the cash for the real thing, it's not bad. I would say the opening sucks compared to African Leather. It's really just not there. But as it dries down, it gets closer and closer to African Leather through the mid and into the dry down. Interestingly, if you smell this straight from the atomizer, you would think, yeah, that's really, really close to African Leather. But once you spray it on your skin, you know, it changes. I would say between the 2, African Leather hands down would be my choice. I'm not gonna pick this over that, but overall, it's not a bad alternative. The opening is not there for African Magic. It's really not all that close to African Leather, but the mid and dry down are decently close, maybe 80%. Next up, we're gonna talk about this one, Agar, which is Alexandria Fragrances' take on Tom Ford Oud Wood. It's a very popular fragrance, Oud Wood. This opens up like a chocolatey, woody scent, and then has cardamom that starts to show up a few minutes in. The very initial blast of Agar is not the same as Tom Ford Oud Wood. After about 10 minutes or so, it does start to get closer, and at that point, I would say it's maybe 65% Tom Ford Oud Wood. It comes off a little bit peppery with cardamom, sandalwood, and a very slight touch of oud. It's a warm, spicy, woody scent. I would say that you could maybe call it an alternative to oud wood, but I would not call it a replacement to oud wood. This one, to me, just does not do it as a replacement. Projection on that goes really soft within about 30 to 40 minutes. At that point, it becomes a light skin scent. It's not completely gone, but it is quite light at that point. And within about 4 hours off my skin, Agar is imperceptible. You can't pick it up anymore. And that is gonna be a deal killer for a lot of you out there, because with these clones, a lot of times you're looking for beast performance, stuff that's gonna really last, really project. Agar does not do either of those off my skin. It is a weak performer for me. And even in the far dry down, when this is the absolute closest to oud wood that it gets through the entire life of the fragrance, Agar is maybe 70% Tom Ford Oud Wood. It has less richness, it has less depth, it has less spice, and overall, it just smells cheaper than oud wood. It's not a horrible fragrance, it's okay, but if you're looking for an oud wood alternative that's not all that expensive, I would go hands down with Versace Oud Noir over Agar. Oud Noir is actually cheaper than Agar, and honestly smells of higher quality. Of these 5, that one is my least favorite. Next up, let's go with this one. California Winter 2018. The quality on this one is quite high. I like it. This has a substantial jasmine note with powder, and the sweetness, I believe, is coming from the raspberry note here. It doesn't necessarily smell like raspberry, but I believe that's what it's supposed to be. You also get a suede-like leather note that sits underneath that floral, sweet, powdery top. To an extent, This fragrance smells like a feminized version of Tuscan Leather by Tom Ford. It essentially smells like you took Tuscan Leather and turned it into a feminine fragrance with powder and florals along with the raspberry and leather. It does smell nice, but personally it's a fragrance I would not wear. Just a little bit too feminine for me. I don't really like the way it smells coming off my skin. I would like it on a woman, just not myself. And the last fragrance that we're going to talk about is this one, Hafez 1984. And I've got to say, out of this bunch, that's the one I've seen the most online. People have been hyping that up. I've seen it in Facebook groups, I've seen it in my own, I've seen it in other people's. A lot of good has been said about this fragrance. This shows as an original creation on their website on alexandriafragrances.com, but that is essentially a clone of Mancera Red Tobacco. Red Tobacco is a fragrance that I do own, and I have reviewed it in the past. The opening of Hafez 1984 is similar to the opening of Mancera Red Tobacco in the sense that it's kind of a train wreck. The opening is harsh, the opening is strong. There are a lot of notes that are competing to be the prominent note in the opening. So the notes don't really meld together so much as they clash. The tobacco, rum, vanilla, and spices off the top can be overpowering for some people, especially if you're not expecting it. Comes off a bit syrupy, warm, and boozy initially. And it is very powerful off the top, so be careful with the trigger. Don't spray this on really heavy if you know you're going to be around a lot of people right after you spray it on, because they may not appreciate your fragrance. After about 25 minutes though, Hafez 1984 does tone down, and all those notes stop fighting and they start working together. Once it settles down, Hafez 1984, very similar to Red Tobacco, is a really, really nice, warm, spicy, boozy, almost syrupy tobacco fragrance. Warm and rich with the tiny touch of powder through the dry down, it's actually very nice and very well done. I've got to say, Hafez 1984 out of the 5 I got is my favorite. It's a good quality tobacco, boozy, spicy mix of a fragrance that really works well in cool weather. It's got great longevity, great projection, nothing bad to say about that one. If you like Mancera Red Tobacco, you should like that one too. That's gonna do it for the review portion of this video. Let's go ahead and touch on the coupon and giveaway really quickly. So if you use the coupon GentsSense20, which is right here, GentsSense20, on Alexandria Fragrances website, you'll get 20% off your order. So if you're planning on picking up any Alexandria fragrances in the future or right now, whatever, use that code, save yourself some money. Now the giveaway. Leave a comment below letting me know which of these 5 fragrances you would like to win. Also make sure to like the video and be subscribed to the channel. A week from today, the day that this video is published, I'll pick a winner through random comment picker and pin that winning comment to the top of the comments section. If you're the winner, shoot me an email and I will mail off your prize. And we will do worldwide giveaway on this, so everybody is welcome to submit an entry. Good luck, guys, and if I were you, I would pick either Hafez 1984 or Interplay Extrait. But you guys pick whatever you want. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. If you've smelled any of these fragrances, let me know what you think about them in the comments below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all of your support. Good luck with the giveaway. Thank you to Alexandria Fragrances for sending these to me. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you guys again next time.